Hi leaders, and welcome to 10 Steps for Managing Unwanted Change for our Leadership Society here at Northampton Community College. I know throughout this module we've been talking about how positive change can be for us as individuals and in the communities and groups that we're a part of, but there's also another side of the coin that we have to acknowledge. Because let's face it, sometimes change is awful, it's unwanted, we're unprepared for it, and we're upset that it's happening. And when you're going through a situation like that, here are 10 ways to deal with it. So the first way is acknowledging the change. Like I said, change happens whether or not we want it to. It's just a part of life. But as a result, we also have to deal with it. And unfortunately, we can't really move on or move forward to a more positive headspace and a more positive situation until we realize that a change is happening. Once we're able to accept the reality of the situation, that we may have to move, that we've lost our job, that we failed a class, once we acknowledge those things are happening, we're able to evaluate our situation from a more realistic standpoint, and we're able to make meaningful plans for our future, the future that we want and are planning for. Step 2 is facing our fears. Change can cause a lot of fear and anxiety. Even changes that we're looking forward to when we think about as positive, like getting a new job or having a baby or getting married, all things that we should be excited for can also make us nervous and afraid. A really great way to handle that fear is writing down our fears and thinking through what would happen if those fears ever took place. And that can make us feel more at peace. So a good example is if you're starting a new job and your big fear is that you won't be good at your job, a great way to walk through that is thinking about the ways and the people you could ask for help, or thinking about some additional supports you could get from your community. And it's also really important to realize that we might need some additional help if our fear and anxiety are impacting our daily life. And in that case, there are some really great trained mental health professionals, both in our communities and on campus, who can help us out and help us work through some of those fears. Step 3, which ties right into our last point, is seeking support. Change can be really overwhelming. We might feel excited for a new opportunity, and then we might be afraid because we don't know what this new change is going to bring into our life. And sometimes we might feel sad because one chapter of our life is closing so that another one can start. Or we might feel angry that we're going through a change or something unwanted is happening. It's natural to feel all those emotions. And for most of us, we're very lucky in the sense that we don't have to face those challenges alone. We can reach out to a friend, a family member, a colleague, or a professional who can talk us through these feelings and how these changes might affect us so that we're ready to take on the day with support. And I highly encourage you to think right now about a few people that you could lean on for support and some ways that you can continue to cultivate relationships where you can feel supported. So our next one is opposite thoughts and actions. So there is a really great therapeutic practice called dialectic behavioral therapy. It's developed by Dr. Marsha Linehan, and she has a great technique to conquer some of our fear and anxiety. That's called opposite thoughts and actions. So I know myself personally, when I'm going through a change that I don't want, I can get wrapped in my own head and really start thinking about what's going to go wrong. How will I mess this up? How will I fail? What happens if I do fail? We can then, in a more positive light, reframe those thoughts, just like Dr. Linehan said, and think about what might go right. How might this be a positive experience? What if this changes my life? We can also do things like opposite action. So a great example we have here is you have a big exam in class one day. You might be tempted, if you're feeling unprepared, to call out of class sick or skip the exam so you don't have to worry about it, at least in that present moment. Or maybe you want some extra time to prepare. When we think about it, pushing that exam off might make us more stressed and more anxious. Instead, it might be helpful if we face our fears, go to class, and take our exam. Even if we don't do the way that we want it to, at least it's out of the way and we can start reframing our study habits and our academic performance to more align with what we want out of our college experience. So another step is step number 5, which is being flexible. So sometimes, especially when you're in a work environment, I know a lot of you probably have experience with that, we might have to go along with changes we don't necessarily like, that we don't agree with, or that we don't think will be successful. I'm sure many of you who have worked have had an experience where your boss was like, we're going to start changing things up, we're going to have this new experience, and you, in your practical experience, working with other people or working with your clients or colleagues, are like, you know what, boss, that is never going to work. That is so silly. But it's important that we're flexible, we're open, and willing to learn, and that can help us become better employees, better individuals, better leaders, and it can help us be accustomed to the change. Being flexible and open also strengthens our relationships with our coworkers and our supervisors. That allows us to impact positive change down the road. And of course, we want to make an addendum here that there are some exceptions to this rule. We don't have to be flexible about everything. If you believe that change is prejudiced, if it's morally wrong, if it's unfairly impacting some people and not other people, then you have the right and you should resist that change. And you should be a voice for justice and equity in your workplace, in school, in your club, and confront injustice anywhere that you see it. Number 6 involves being part of the change. So a great way to get on board with the change, to learn more about a change, and to really embrace this as a new opportunity is volunteering to be part of the planning committee for this change, to help implement the change. All of this can help you become more excited and enthusiastic. Additionally, being part of a planning team or being part of the people who implement the change can give you some autonomy. It gives you the ability to offer feedback, ask questions, and be part of the process. And hopefully you can offer some valuable advice and opinions and make that change more in line with what you think is right or what you and your corporation think is right. It can really make you feel empowered. So our 7th step is communicate. So we have the wonderful experience of living in a world where everyone brings different strengths and talents to an organization or to an experience. And as a result, everyone has their own interpretations and viewpoints of an experience. Talking to a lot of people can help us understand where other people are coming from, to better understand the situation, to understand the facts of the change that we're going through. Communication also allows us to ask questions. We can clarify things if we're confused or don't understand. We can be proactive in building these relationships. And ultimately, it can be really beneficial for us to talk to other people. It's also important to note, though, that communication should be positive, especially in a workplace or in a club. We don't want to just complain or be disrespectful or not be helpful when it comes to a change. We should really strive to be a positive influence for the people around us. So step number 8 is managing stress. So unwanted change can put a lot of stress on our already stressful lives. I know a lot of people out here are balancing being a student, a parent, a girlfriend, a boyfriend, an employee, a team member, a club organization member. We have a lot of things going on. So it's important in periods of additional stress that we are really diligent and really spending a lot of energy and time taking care of our well-being. We can only help others and be the best that we can be when we are properly taking care of ourselves. So here are some great tips so we can keep our stress under control and continue to show up fully in everything we want to do. So it's important to eat nutritious and filling meals and snacks if those are available to you. We want to make sure that we're exercising often. It doesn't have to be super intense to spend 3 hours at the gym. Even a walk or some light yoga can help us feel better. We want to make sure that we can sleep at least 8 hours a night. And we also want to make time and space to practice things that are meaningful for you. So for some people that might be spirituality or religion. Some people find great solace in doing yoga, going for walks, deep breathing. And for some people, it just might be spending some time with your friends. All of that can make you feel better and make you feel more prepared to take on your day. Step number 9 is finding a sense of meaning. So people who are resilient, if you go back to our previous module about resilience, know they have a vision and a purpose in their organization or team. So even if there are changes that we don't like, we can find the meaning and purpose behind our work or the change. So for example, say you work at a CVS and you don't like the change that CVS is doing here in the pharmacy where you work. You might be upset about that change, but on a positive side, you can look at all the people that you're helping, all the individuals whose medication you're getting to them, all the people who will be able to live more meaningful, healthier, and happy lives through the work that you're doing. And that might make you feel better or feel more productive at work. Some great guiding questions, just like I said, and you can reflect on is, how will this help people? How can this improve my team or organization? Or in some ways, how is this important to me? And then finally, step number 10, my favorite, is keep on keeping on. We're going through some challenging circumstances all the time. Life can be tough and difficult, and everybody has stuff going on. And it can be easy to just want to stop, hang out at home, just wonder about what's going to happen to us, to self-isolate. And to be honest, in most cases, that's just not helpful. The more we can keep up our regular routines, especially during times of stress and unwanted change, the better off we'll be. Taking care of our health, eating and sleeping regularly, keeping us well, practicing and engaging in things that keep us calm and happy, all things that will make us feel better. And all these habits will contribute to us keeping a calm and rational head, making the best possible decisions for ourselves, and living the best possible life that we can live in the present moment. So that wraps up all of our 10 suggestions on how to manage unwanted change. We really hope this was something that was helpful for you, and that it was something that you can continue to work through and put in your toolbox for whenever you're struggling with a difficult time. I hope you guys have a great day, and keep on keeping on.